Hey, Bird Nerds! Welcome back to Bird Nerds in Exile. My name's James Roach,
I'm Al Zapp.
and we're back after a couple weeks hiatus. Things are getting a little crazy there. Spending a little too much time editing video and not enough time sleeping. After the third or fourth sort of psychedelic spin session while driving home from work, I decided, maybe just to start things off, take a few weeks break, start things off on a low tech.
Well, at least
tip.
you were able to cut off the nose hair and the ear hair.
Yeah. That was,
So,
luckily it was only 1 week, so I just got
So
my little
appearance-wise,
trim out there.
you're back to normal.
Feeling
anyway.
good, feeling good.
So.
Yeah. But what a week to come back. I mean, the Eagles just beat the Colts at home at the
Electric.
Link. Yeah, if there's one game that I would have rather been at, rather than watching the Seahawks lose to the Giants like 47-4 or something like that,
Crap
it would have been
bad
that
team.
one.
Yeah.
I didn't even get to watch it on TV because of that. But go Eagles! What the fuck?
Birds, man. Some serious weapons we got on display out there, huh?
Well, let's break it down. I mean, everything clicked. So when you're talking about the offense, what you have is the deep game takes the defensive coverage out of the middle of the field, and then Vic is so fast on his feet he can just find a hole and get right up there. I'm really pleased with how everyone's behaving this year.
Yeah, you do worry sometimes. Just you see Mike Vick out there. He's taking hits again. Deshaun is still playing his fearless game,
Right.
and you worry. Are they just asking for more trouble injury wise down the road? But it is so fun to watch them play.
Yeah, absolutely.
And clearly Vic, and not only with Deshaun but with Jeremy Maclin too. I mean, he's got real chemistry with those guys, and sometimes it's like watching superheroes.
Yeah, I mean, it's so great to have actual all-star caliber
Yeah.
guys on your team.
On the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah,
If you're
two
a
decent
true bird nerd in
quarterbacks.
exile like we are, we really haven't had much of that over the last 30 years.
And like we were talking about before the show, I mean, this is sizing up to almost mimic the Philly season. A lot of injuries, but when everyone gets back on the same page, they're unstoppable. Good team that they put together.
Right now we're in contention.
Absolutely.
And as a bird nerd in exile, that's really all you can ask for, is that your team is competing.
Yeah. I mean, I'll take a wild card spot. That's how McNabb did it. Probably 4 out of the 10 years that they made it into the playoffs with him. But so let's talk about the defense too. I mean, there's nothing to sneeze at over there. Everyone showed up. Asante Samuel moved out to safety, and 2 picks, a lot of stops. Everyone knows that he's the king of arm tackles, but when he's getting interceptions, you can't really call him out.
You almost wonder if he, just because he's played against Manning a lot from his time with the Pats, I wonder if that helped him. But every time that you really want to rip Asante for being a non-tackling football player, he comes up big.
Yeah. And I read an article, I forget where, but Sean McDermott said that he was actually given more freedom to fuck around with the defense, simulate Manning, build the defense. And one thing that I noticed in some of the reels that I watched after the game was as Manning was doing his razzmatazz, like starting with a hard count and then basically calling the offense based on how the defense lined up. The defense switched around and threw him for a loop too, and I think that had a lot to do with maybe we haven't seen what Sean McDermott could do. I hope so, because the defense has just been shitty up to this point.
Well, they're clearly starting to gel, and it seems to me that the defense is establishing its own identity. And yeah, you got to give McDermott some credit. He was on the hot seat a little bit early in the season,
well,
but
the Titans' loss was the big one. I mean, you can blame the injury for the loss against the Packers. But that game against the Titans, that was just a damn shame. They could have tied down the one dude. I wish we had done a show that week. I would have fried that guy's ass. Anyway.
But now we sing his praises.
Yeah,
and sometimes
exactly.
on Bird Nerd, that's how you have to do it.
And my favorite player, Sav Rocca. That guy can kick a ball, man. I'll tell you. Anyway, let's get off that. The rest of the season, well, let's talk about next week. We have a Monday night game, so Bird Nerds in Exile love their Monday night games.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you got a national game, so it's on TV anywhere.
Yep.
And being on the West Coast, like a lot of us Bird Nerds in Exile are, just that the timing works out perfectly. Just the scheduling of those games, a 5:30, 6 p.m.
start,
thing, so you could tie one on and still get to bed in a reasonable at a reasonable
And
hour
it's on
and watch the birds.
It's on ESPN,
Yeah,
so
it's
afterwards they show the highlights until you're sick of your own team.
And plus, we get another shot at McNabb.
Yep.
And
Seattle has way better beer than Philadelphia, so it's almost better being here when you can watch the game.
Kind of is.
Yeah.
I hate to say, but
sorry guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to not necessarily a high scoring game, but certainly one where I think this new defense is going to really show McNabb what for. We know that he can't pass. He's good in the midfield, but beyond that, things just get shaky. The only time he really does good is when the receivers manage to trick the defensive secondary. I'm giving it to the Eagles defense to shut him down. It's not like they don't know his game.
I'm with you on that. I'd also add there's what doesn't really show up in the stat sheet right now for this game against the Skins is there's a lot of turmoil. Again is surfacing in the Redskins, which it's been that way for 10 years. Whereas the Eagles are really firing on all cylinders at the moment.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think I personally think we're just going to walk all over the Skins. I think it's going to be a shellacking, and then what's going to happen is we're going to be facing Big Blue, the Queens, on a short week.
Short week, yeah.
And I think that's going to bring us down to earth. I don't want to look ahead, but I expect the Eagles to really roll over the Skins.
I'm hoping what offsets the short week and the the registered dominance of the Giants is the fact that the Eagles only have to drive 78 miles or however long it is from RFK back to Philly.
Yeah, that's true.
So the day off, it's not like they're coming back from San Francisco or something like that.
Right.
And then also fired up if they come off of 2 big wins and they stick it up McNabb's ass, then they'll be coming back to something.
Well, it's certainly going to be juicy. 2 NFC East matchups in a row.
Absolutely.
And I think the Giants game is a Sunday night game.
The Giants game is a Sunday night game.
So that means we get two high-profile games in a row, Bird Nerds.
Yeah. But let's talk about the rest of the schedule, because actually the high-profile games are the ones that might actually put the Eagles' season at risk. Later on in the season, I believe it's the game where they play the Texans. It's a Thursday night game. So going into that, they're going to have
unpredictable
more of a short week, right?
Hard to know what you're going to get with
those
exactly.
Guys. You don't bet the line on that one. You just try and pick a winner. They're a good team, but it being Thursday, we love being able to watch the Eagles and everything, but it makes for a short week. So the Eagles, I really feel like they got the cakewalk out of the their cakewalk section of the season is now behind them. 5-3 after all the injuries. Again, citing the Phillies, it's something to be said. If they all come back and they feel like hanging in there, then the city will come around them. Their home games will just be parties and we'll make it happen.
All it takes is, like you said, that wild card spot. It seems we've kind of been riding that spot for, I don't know, 7 out of the last 10 years or something
it works.
like that.
It works.
It's, you're in it. You're in the hunt. Whether it's Jeff Garcia and
well, who's going to come out of the West? Because that's who's going to play. Who's it going to be? Arizona? Everyone's pathetic.
Who cares? Yeah. It won't even matter. Big Blue looms large, I think. I think all our discussions about how we see the Eagles season going, you got to get through those fags up in the,
well,
you got to get through
if those are the only 2 games that the Eagles lose, they'll be 10-5, and that's a very respectable season from where, at the beginning of the year, Kevin Cobb coming back from his concussion, people were insisting that he starts because specifically this was a rebuilding year. Making the playoffs and going 10-5. It doesn't look like anyone else is going to go 10-5.
I think we can. I have no doubt that we can get to the playoffs again. And here's to the Birds for making the playoffs. How many years out of the last 12 or something?
Well, chickens and hatched and all that stuff, but it'll be 10 out of 12, if not 12 out of 14. So yeah,
here's to
big
that.
Ups.
But in the playoffs, that's where Big Blue is going to be looming large, because I think we can beat anybody else. The Packers are going to be there. We almost beat them with Michael Vick coming in as a backup.
Right.
And a disastrous first half. I mean, we can play with any of these teams. I think we need to be able to show that we can play with New York.
I think it's going to happen. And if the Eagles get the NFC West champs, I'll use that term loosely, in the first round of the playoffs, Maybe the Packers will take out the
That
Giants
can always
on an
happen.
off
You
day.
never know.
Yeah,
You never
yeah.
know. Plus, there's a lot of football left to play. Let's face it, Jimmy. We got half the season left to play.
Right. So it looks like the tough games are really just going to be the Giants. We have 2 games against the Cowboys, the remaining game against the Redskins, Texans, Bears mixed in there for some non-division matchups. But it's really just Giants. And like I said, I mean, I'll take those 2 losses if they're the only 2 losses. 10-5 is a respectable year for a team that's riddled with injuries.
I guess the key then will be to win the games you have to win. Like, you have to be able to beat Dallas. Who's quarterbacking Dallas right now? Is it
I think it's
Y.A. Tittle or somebody?
Jose Kitna.
I mean, seriously, you got whatever, Jim Zorn quarterbacking the Cowboys. I mean, you got to be able to beat them. So you just can't lose focus, I think, on and with the Skins too. Like, the Skins are really beatable right now. Let's maintain focus.
Absolutely. I just think that's going to be enough of a momentum, just slapping the flywheel for the Eagles and just taking them from the Colts through the Redskins and then facing off short week, underdog energy, just really sticking it to the Giants. I don't think that the Giants, how many times have they gone into December 1st, top team in the NFC East, and somehow the Eagles wind up.
It's true. The Eagles have always played Big Blue tough. They find a way to. It's a great rivalry. Let's face it.
Yeah, I wish I was a human stat book because I would bet that Andy Reid's Decembers are almost always 3 wins or 3 or 4 wins.
Yeah.
There's so many seasons, and every Eagles fan knows it. Almost every season the Eagles wind up